Welcome to Beyond the Call, where history, leadership, and heroism come alive. Today's episode explores the story of Private First Class Joseph R. Ouellette, a powerful story of courage and perseverance. If you enjoy learning more about military history and extraordinary individuals, be sure to visit trackpads.com for articles, podcasts, and more. Introduction. Private First Class Joseph R. Ouellette exemplified extraordinary bravery during the Korean War, earning him the highest military honor of the United States, the Medal of Honor. Serving in Company H, 9th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division, Ouellette's actions near Yongsan, Korea, from August 31st to September 3, 1950, were a testament to selfless courage under intense combat conditions. Despite overwhelming odds and perilous circumstances, Ouellette demonstrated unyielding resolve in the face of enemy fire. Actions that ultimately cost him his life, but cemented his legacy as an American hero. His vow remains an enduring reminder of the sacrifice and dedication exhibited by soldiers throughout history. Amid the chaos of fierce battle, a powerful moment encapsulates Ouellette's heroism. He voluntarily braved lethal enemy fire to retrieve much-needed supplies, even engaging in deadly hand-to-hand combat to defend his comrades. On 6 separate occasions, he courageously dodged enemy grenades and fire, gathering critical ammunition to sustain his unit's defense. Ouellette's tireless determination and his ultimate sacrifice vividly illustrate the profound courage required in the direst of situations. His story inspires admiration and serves as a poignant reminder of the depth of personal bravery and selflessness achievable by individuals thrust into extraordinary circumstances. Historical context. The Korean War, often overshadowed by World War II and the Vietnam War, was a brutal conflict that tested the resolve of United Nations forces against the determined advance of communist forces from North Korea. Beginning in June 1950, the war quickly escalated into a global confrontation, drawing forces from over 20 nations, spearheaded primarily by the United States. Korea, previously divided at the 38th parallel into Communist North and Democratic South, became a pivotal front in the Cold War. The intensity of the conflict saw towns, villages, and vast terrains devastated, becoming enduring symbols of a conflict that shaped global geopolitics in the decades to follow. At the heart of the early stages of the conflict was the desperate struggle for survival by United Nations forces during the Battle of the Pusan Perimeter. In August 1950, South Korean and American troops found themselves trapped within a shrinking pocket around the southeastern port city of Pusan. Encircled by aggressive North Korean forces determined to unify the peninsula under communist rule, the United Nations Command mounted an unyielding defense. The perimeter, a fragile defensive line, represented not just strategic survival, but also a psychological stand, symbolizing Allied determination to halt the communist advance. Within this desperate scenario unfolded the Battle of Yongsan, where Private First Class Joseph R. Ouellette and his unit were tasked with repelling relentless North Korean assaults. Yongsan was crucial for maintaining the integrity of the Pusan perimeter, serving as a critical logistical and strategic hub. Control of this area meant maintaining supply lines and enabling reinforcements, critical factors in the overall defensive posture of United Nations forces. The ferocity of combat here illustrated the intensity and desperation faced by American and South Korean troops. Company H, 9th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division, the unit in which Ouellette served, was central to holding the vital positions around Yongsan. This unit, battle-hardened and strategically placed, endured repeated assaults by numerically superior enemy forces, attempting to breach the perimeter and compromise the entire defensive effort. Known for their resilience under pressure, Company H's soldiers endured some of the most intense close-quarters combat of the entire Korean War. Their defense of Yongsan was pivotal, slowing the enemy advance and buying critical time for reinforcements and strategic realignments. The bravery displayed by soldiers like Joseph R. Ouellette at Yongsan had far-reaching implications beyond immediate tactical successes. The steadfast resistance at critical junctures such as Yongsan bought time for the pivotal Incheon landing in mid-September 1950, led by General Douglas MacArthur. This strategic counteroffensive dramatically shifted momentum in favor of United Nations forces, allowing them to break out from the Pusan perimeter and eventually recapture Seoul. Actions taken by individual soldiers like Ouellette, though seemingly small in isolation, thus contributed significantly to a much larger victory, shaping the outcome of the Korean War and the broader Cold War context. Personal background. Joseph R. Ouellette was born on May 9, 1930 in Lowell, Massachusetts, a historic mill town known for its vibrant immigrant communities and hard-working citizens. Growing up in a city shaped by industry and perseverance, Ouellette absorbed the values of determination, resilience, and sacrifice from his community. His decision to join the United States Army reflected a sense of patriotic duty common among his peers at the time, inspired in part by the profound legacy of veterans returning from World War II. Enlisting provided him an opportunity not only to serve his country, but also to embrace the challenge and discipline of military life. Tragically, Ouellette never returned home to share the stories of his bravery firsthand. He was killed in action on September 3, 1950, at just 20 years old, during the intense fighting near Yongsan. Posthumously recognized for his exceptional heroism, he was awarded the Medal of Honor, with the medal ceremonially presented to his mother by General Omar N. Bradley at the Pentagon on April 3, 1951. Today, his memory is honored in his hometown of Lowell, notably through landmarks such as the Ouellette Bridge, a lasting tribute to his courage and the ultimate sacrifice he made for his country. Medal of Honor, citation. Private First Class Ouellette distinguished himself by conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty in action against the enemy near Yongsan, Korea, from August 31st to September 3, 1950. While participating in action against the enemy, his unit was engaged in desperate fighting in defense of vital terrain against numerically superior hostile forces. Throughout this period, Private First Class Ouellette voluntarily exposed himself to heavy enemy fire on 6 separate occasions in order to obtain ammunition and grenades from friendly positions. Each time, he made his way through concentrated enemy fire and grenade barrages to supply his comrades with vitally needed munitions. On 3 occasions, he personally engaged the enemy in hand-to-hand combat, repulsing them each time and enabling his unit to hold its position. Throughout these actions, he was seriously wounded but refused evacuation, choosing instead to remain with his comrades and continue the fight. His courageous determination and outstanding leadership inspired his fellow soldiers and were instrumental in repulsing the repeated enemy attacks. Private First Class Ouellette continued to engage the enemy until he was mortally wounded on September 3, 1950. His exceptional valor, steadfastness, and self-sacrificing devotion to duty reflect the highest credit upon himself and uphold the esteemed traditions of military service. The Battle and Medal of Honor actions. On August 31, 1950, Private First Class Joseph R. Ouellette and Company H of the 9th Infantry Regiment faced a severe crisis at Yongsan within the shrinking confines of the Pusan perimeter. From the outset, intense fighting erupted as waves of North Korean forces attempted to break through United Nations defensive lines. With ammunition and supplies dwindling, Ouellette immediately recognized the critical need for resupply to sustain their defensive stand. Braving severe enemy fire, he willingly stepped forward to fulfill the perilous task of retrieving ammunition from nearby positions. During his first dangerous supply run, Ouellette navigated through a barrage of enemy small arms fire and grenade explosions, displaying extraordinary composure under extreme pressure. Reaching his destination unscathed, he gathered critical ammunition and grenades, rapidly returning to replenish his embattled unit. His actions were pivotal, restoring essential fighting capabilities to his comrades and bolstering their resolve amidst mounting enemy pressure. Through his bravery, Ouellette set a powerful example that immediately elevated the fighting spirit of those around him. Undeterred by the escalating enemy assault, Ouellette voluntarily repeated his courageous effort multiple times over the following hours and days. Each supply run proved more hazardous than the last, with enemy fire intensifying as North Korean forces closed in tighter around their position. On each occasion, he exhibited unshakable resolve, moving quickly yet deliberately under relentless enemy fire, securing desperately needed munitions and delivering them back to his embattled unit. His consistent bravery in such dangerous circumstances underscored his extraordinary commitment to his fellow soldiers. Amidst the harrowing chaos, Ouellette found himself engaged directly with enemy troops in brutal close-quarters combat on 3 separate occasions. In each fierce encounter, armed primarily with determination, bravery, and his basic infantry weapons, he repelled enemy attackers attempting to overwhelm their position. His decisive actions in these engagements directly prevented enemy breakthroughs, maintaining the integrity of their defensive line. His courage in close combat inspired those around him, reinforcing their collective determination to hold their ground at any cost. Ouellette was gravely wounded during these intense engagements, but adamantly refused evacuation, determined to remain by the side of his fellow soldiers. Though his injuries slowed his movements, his resolve remained unwavering, and he continued actively participating in combat. He understood the symbolic and tactical significance of his presence, encouraging others by his steadfastness and tenacity. His refusal to leave his comrades, despite intense pain, personified a deep dedication to duty and camaraderie rarely matched in combat. On September 3, 1950, after days of relentless fighting and multiple heroic actions, Ouellette was mortally wounded. Even as his strength waned, he fought courageously until his last moments, maintaining his determination to support and protect his fellow soldiers. His heroic efforts at Yongsan not only allowed his unit to hold vital terrain, but also significantly impacted the broader battle. Ouellette's sacrifice became an enduring testament to the extraordinary courage and selfless dedication required of soldiers facing impossible odds. Reflections and lessons learned. Joseph R. Ouellette's actions at Yongsan highlight timeless principles of leadership and courage under fire. His repeated decisions to place himself directly in harm's way demonstrate the critical role individual bravery plays in collective success. Military leaders today can draw from his example to reinforce the importance of personal responsibility, demonstrating to soldiers at every level the powerful impact that singular acts of heroism can have on overall mission accomplishment. Ouellette's unwavering dedication serves as a profound lesson that true leadership often emerges most clearly in moments of extreme adversity. Beyond the battlefield, Ouellette's story illustrates broader ethical lessons relevant to personal and professional life. His steadfastness and self-sacrifice embody the highest ideals of duty, loyalty, and integrity, qualities that transcend military service and resonate within any team or organization. Modern leaders and individuals alike can learn from his example to foster a culture of commitment and resilience, where personal sacrifice for the collective good becomes a shared value. The enduring relevance of his story underscores the universal importance of courage and dedication in overcoming significant challenges. Finally, Ouellette's sacrifice invites reflection on the personal cost of military service, emphasizing the profound depth of commitment expected of those who serve their country. His story not only commemorates an individual's heroism, but also reminds society of the ultimate sacrifices made by soldiers and their families. Remembering stories like Ouellette's reinforces the importance of gratitude and respect for veterans and active military personnel. In honoring his memory, contemporary generations are reminded to preserve the ideals of freedom and democracy for which Ouellette and countless others fought and sacrificed. Closing. The courageous actions of Private First Class Joseph R. Ouellette at Yongsan serve as an enduring example of bravery, sacrifice, and steadfast dedication to duty under the harshest circumstances. His legacy continues to inspire military personnel and civilians alike, reminding us all of the extraordinary capabilities of ordinary individuals when confronted with adversity. As we conclude this chapter of Beyond the Call, we prepare to explore yet another remarkable Medal of Honor recipient whose story equally embodies heroism and sacrifice. Subscribe now to continue uncovering these inspiring tales. and share these stories to honor the legacy of these true American heroes. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Beyond the Call. If you would like to dive deeper into more stories of bravery, leadership, and history, visit trackpads.com. Until next time, keep exploring, stay inspired, and remember, the lessons of the past shape the warriors of the future.